The Gun Guys joining us on Magic Valley this morning on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. Forrest Anderson from Washington Street Pawn. Todd Eccles from Patriot Defense. We're at 22 at 5 minutes after 8 o'clock. Bill Colley, and I'll handle any of the telephone calls that come in this hour or messages that'll be coming in via the app. If you've not yet done it, download the app for your smartphone. It's free, takes only about a minute. You listen to the program with a nice crystal clear signal. It might be slightly delayed. Should point that out. But you can always send us messages. So if you don't have time to make a phone call, that's a great way to get a point across or a question. We wanted to say welcome to both of you. Welcome back.
It's good to be here. Always.
Good to be back.
So we want to start out with one little quick story. Todd Eccles the other day was commenting on the fact that you bought yourself, a new VP9, right?
Yeah, I got a red dot for it, yeah.
Okay, and so this gun is supposedly better than Glock according to some reviewers.
According to some reviewers.
So I looked up one of the reviews, and I was like, wow, this is great. So I posted it to Todd's Facebook page.
Facebook took it down?
It's a review. It's a review about how good this gun is.
I had some classes. I had some classes yesterday. And actually, I had my women's group class. I didn't get back into my house till probably 8:30, 9 o'clock. And, my phone is in my pocket the whole class. I don't look at it during class. I feel it. Bzz, bzz. I was like, I got a lot of notifications. Pulled it up, and saw, I got comments. I think your comment was one of them. Pulled it up, and it says it's been removed. So I have
my comment must have been the last one because it was about 9:30.
Yeah.
Facebook doesn't like the truth, so I'm sure my comment got it removed.
Yeah.
I was speaking the truth.
Well, it was weird because it was that post. It was spread up to my personal page and my business page, and they're just random posts. They weren't. I mean, I have so many other posts where I thumb my nose at people and say stuff I shouldn't. They left those ones up. So I don't know if this was Facebook or someone reported me. I have no idea, but it happens every now and then. I'm sure Forrest has had some posts removed a time or two.
Yeah, and I probably don't even notice them because I just move on. But yeah, I had made a comment on that because that's a good-looking gun. It has all the features of the Gen 4 Glock, which is good. They're only one generation behind with the VP9.
Hey, it's all in the eye of the beholder. Is what you want.
I read all the the details on it. I thought I want one of these, and so that's why I ended up posting it to your page.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm shocked. Maybe it's maybe we're going to see more and more of this going on.
Maybe Facebook doesn't like the HK.
We know Facebook doesn't like firearms.
Yeah, period.
And especially with the push that's going on now, 2 House bills.
Yeah.
Introduced and voted. I think they're going to vote today.
Mm-hmm.
Gun control is coming, folks.
Oh yeah.
And they're saying, well, we're not trying to take your guns. They're just trying to make it impossible to buy one. So what they're going to do, these bills do 2 things. First of all, they make it so the ATF can delay your background check for 10 days. And there's no rhyme or reason. They don't give you an answer why you were delayed. They simply say this background check is delayed. If you don't hear back from us, the buyer can't pick it up before this date. So what that means is they can just, on a whim, just flip a switch and say, delay every background check 10 days. They don't need any rhyme. They don't need any reason for it. They simply can say, we feel like we need more time, and they can just flip a switch, and there you go. There is a national 10-day waiting period.
And let me throw out here, we jumped right in, which is fine, but just so people can track it, we're talking about, we got HR 8, and then the enhanced background check is HR 1446.
Yep.
So that people can follow along at home if they want to do some more research.
And the other part of that states that you cannot transfer a firearm unless you go through a dealer.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's HR 8.
And they said for a limited time, you can transfer between family members and like on a hunting trip, but that's just for a limited time. Then it kicks in that every transfer of gun between individuals, you have to go to a dealer and you have to have a background check. So think about this. Your neighbor says, hey, I like your gun. I want to buy it. You'll have to pack up that gun. You'll have to go to a dealer. The dealer will have to enter it into their inventory. They will have to sell it to your neighbor, which will incur a fee, probably $25 to $50. At that point, the ATF could say, okay, we will look at this transfer, but we're going to require you to hold the gun for 10 days. So it could take you almost 2 weeks and cost you $50 to transfer a gun to somebody else.
Right.
I mean, that's what you're looking at.
And you can't tell me this. I mean, this is all leading to an eventual firearms registry. They know where every firearm is. They know who has it, where it goes. It's
Well, here's how
no
it'll
more.
work.
No more. I sold my guns to my neighbor. I don't have them anymore.
Here's how it'll work. If they induce a trace of that firearm, they'll say, okay, we're looking for this gun. It
Mhm.
went from this wholesaler to this gun shop to this individual. They'll go to that individual and say, okay, where's this gun?
Mhm.
And you can no longer say, hey, I sold it. I don't have it.
I don't
They'll
have a
say,
record.
I want a record of where that was sold. So
Yeah.
there's your firearms registration right
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
It's just a backdoor to
Backdoor way to
firearms.
do it. You're keeping it. They're not.
Yeah. So if this goes, and if Joe Manchin gets weak kneed again like he did on the stimulus bill, we have put ourselves in a country as a country in the hands of where a Democrat controls our destiny. Joe Manchin, a Democrat from West Virginia, pretty much controls our Second Amendment rights right now. So you need to make some noise. And I really feel like some people came to we had a great rally a couple weeks ago. Lots of people showed up. It was a great feeling. But since then, I feel like a lot of people have felt like, I've checked the box. I'm done.
Yeah.
That is just the start. Like, we're having a meeting Monday night with the Twin Falls City Council at 5 p.m. at the Twin Falls City Council chambers to pass the resolution supporting your Second Amendment rights. And if you don't go to that and if you don't speak, there's a really good chance that they could say, no, we're not going to do it. Because why should we? People care enough to show up once for 45 minutes, but they won't show up twice. And I mean, this is the place that we're at.
Wanted to mention the gun guys joining us this morning on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. It's 20. We're almost 8:12. Forrest Anderson from Washington Street Pond and Todd Eccles for Patriot Defense with me, Bill Colley. The number to reach us, 208-736-0300, 208-736-0300. In talking about these bills, I came across this morning. A couple of different writers at the Washington Examiner. They're two Republican members of the U.S. House, Kat Kamek and Lauren Boebert. Boebert was the one who had during the Zoom meeting a couple of weeks ago, she had her gun collection on the wall, and
Yes.
the liberals all got upset saying she's trying to intimidate us. Guys who are 6'3" were intimidated because a woman is sitting in a room with a gun collection on her wall in the background. But they say from the moment we arrived in Congress, the left has been trying to take away members' constitutional rights. And if Democrats are doing this in Congress, just imagine what they want to do to everyday people. House Democrats have just passed still more failed gun control legislation to restrict their Second Amendment rights and trample on the Constitution by mandating universal background checks. The so-called Bipartisan Background Checks Act would effectively create a national firearm registry allowing the government to target gun owners. This bill, if it ever became law, would criminalize common exchanges of firearms. It would make it illegal for a farmer to lend a rifle to a neighbor trying to protect his cattle from wolves, for a homeowner to let her neighbor borrow a firearm following a break-in, for a collector to donate a historic rifle to a museum, and for parents to gift a gun to their child.
There you go.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. That's all they need.
We got a caller looking to get on board with this conversation. Caller, you're up next. You're on the air on KLIX.
Good morning. I hate radicals, and I hate sounding like a radical. But what I'm going to say, probably in the current day, is going to sound radical. The federal government does this with our firearms. Aren't they essentially declaring war on their own citizens? I mean, really, technically.
Well, what they're doing is they're setting the stage for people to act out, and that's really what they want. They really want somebody to do some sort of act in extreme nature, so then they can say, okay, we're going to bypass the legislative process. Now we're going to do this out of interest of public safety, and they will go 100 times further than what these bills are.
Well, why do you think they went ahead and reinstated the military and the troops and stuff stay up there fenced off around the Capitol, around the White House? I mean, there's a reason for that. They've got stuff coming down the pipe that's going to irritate the heck out of us, and I think they're hoping someone rises up and does something.
I think we're not to that point. We need to see where this is going.
Sure.
We need to see if our legislatures are going to filibuster. We need to see if they're going to make a stink. if they don't, we are on a collision course with some really bad things, and I don't think anybody wants it to go there. But it scares me. I mean, I don't want it to go there. But we as a people need to, like I said, that's why these things that you're doing at the local level with your cities and your towns. If your county or your city has not woken up yet, and they haven't said, hey, we've got to do something to ensure the people of our city and our county, we're going to help them protect their gun rights. If they haven't woken up to that yet, you need to go wake them up. You need to make some phone calls, send some emails, and say, hey, why aren't we doing something proactive? Why are we sitting on our hands and worried about maybe some people in Blaine County won't like us because we pass this? People need to wake up, and if they don't, your rights will be gone. I'm just telling you that right now, and they're in your hands to protect.
Another caller joining us. You're on KLIX at 8:15 with the Gun Guys, Todd Eccles and Forrest Anderson.
Yeah, gentlemen, does this bill that's in Congress and stuff, does it change the ability of someone who has an enhanced carry permit to buy a gun without a background check?
No, it shouldn't. I mean, for the state of Idaho locally, if you go in and purchase a firearm and you already have your enhanced concealed carry permit, you have to fill out the paperwork, and they don't call it in. As I know right now, it's not going to change that, because essentially in Idaho, the background check that they run on you so you can have your permit is actually more stringent than what it is when you actually purchase a firearm. That's why they're able to use that one instead.
Yeah, that's why you can use your. However, what we need to realize is this is just the first step. If you come from Connecticut or some of these other states, you actually have to get issued a card, a license to even buy a firearm.
To allow you to buy a firearm or ammo, even in some cases.
And they make that. You're talking about 40 hours worth of classroom plus a lot of money. So they will make it impossible to buy firearms. If you start letting these slide through, they're going to dump everything on you. And like Todd said, there is a reason why they still have tens of thousands of National Guard troops around the Capitol months after the inauguration. The reason they're doing that is because they got some stuff coming that's really going to piss people off. So you better wake up, folks, and you better get to your city council meetings, you better get your county commissioners meetings, and you better get them moving on some proclamations and some ordinances that are going to help protect your Second Amendment rights.
We've got another caller with us. Caller, you're up next. You're on the air on KLIX. Nope, we lost the caller. I recognize the area code, and it was not local. I was going to grab that call really, really fast, but lost the caller in that mix-up. We do want to point out, by the way, that number again, 208-736-0300, 208-736-0300. I'm going to do this one more time. Caller, you're up next. You're on the air on KLIX.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Morning.
Montana. I listen to your show every time I come through here, but you know, I understand what you guys are saying, and I'm a conservative, and I'm a gun owner, and I'm a gun rights guy and everything. But you know, I look at the Democrats as always the shoot first, aim later party, and excuse the pun. But what exactly? I mean, what good does it do them really if I have to document when I sell a gun to Joe, my neighbor, number one, and number two, I can obviously continue to do that without registering stuff. I guess I'm just breaking the law, which they'd never find out about anyways. But what good does it do them? What's their end game? You know,
their end game is to usher in that backdoor firearms registration. So they're not saying, hey, we're going to register your firearms. What they're going to do is they're say, well, we're going to do a firearms trace, and we're going to find out where this firearm went. So that when they ban AR-15s, they can go to every distributor in the country and say, where did you send these AR-15s? We sent them to all these different dealers. Then they will go to those different dealers and they say, okay, who did you sell these guns to? And they will get those list of names. And they will go to those individuals and say, where's this gun? And they say, well, I sold it at a yard sale, or I lost it in the lake, or whatever. And then they'll go to the next person and basically track these guns down. They're setting the table for confiscation. That's where the end game is. Does that make any sense?
well, it's a little bit, but how can they possibly have the manpower and the funds and the means to actually implicate that? I mean, you know,
print up more money.
One thing that they are doing is on the military, they're currently vetting the military. which means anyone that they think would actually stand for the people's constitutional rights, they're trying to wash those guys out.
We've got more coming up with Gun Guys. I want to thank the caller, too. It's 20 minutes after 8 o'clock. We're at 24. Todd Eccles is with Patriot Defense. Forrest Anderson with Washington Street Pawn. And Bill Colley with you until 10 a.m. on Magic Valley This Morning.